salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And I'll call the regular city council meeting to order and entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. At this time, I'd like to make a public statement to the audience, and I appreciate everybody coming. Thank you for being here tonight. I know there's a lot of concern regarding this issue. The position of the City of Marion's governing bodies remains consistent in our request for communication and teamwork in the operation of the community pool and recreation department. It is unfortunate that this situation has evolved into public discourse and social media attacks rather than a mutual quest for a continued partnership. Just to make things clear, the motion I made and approved at the last meeting stated, I move to deny any further financial payments to the school district until such time dispute resolution is achieved. The final paragraph of the letter sent from our attorney to the school board states, and I quote, "As you are all aware, during the last several years, and more specifically this year, the city has reached out to the school and asked to rework the agreement. Progress has not been made, however. The city did not indicate they were agreeable to a meeting with the USD 408. The city did indicate they are agreeable to a meeting with the USD 408 board and try to resolve some of these issues. The city has not wavered from that position. At no point did the City of Marion state that we are unwilling to meet with the school board and continue open, honest communication to resolve all issues affecting our partnership. Misinformation and negative comments made in the local newspaper and the social media suggest that we are unwilling to proceed with a partnership to make this process unnecessarily difficult. It is our hope and desire that this matter can be resolved in a manner that balances the community enhancements with acceptable mutual financial responsibility by both parties to our taxpayers. It is our hope and desire this matter can be resolved in a manner that balances the community enhancements with acceptable mutual financial responsibility by both parties to our taxpayers. Our desire is to continue the dialogue that started in confidence between myself, the city administrator, the school superintendent, and the president of the school board on December 17th, 2020. The city requested the original meeting. The city administrator continued to reach out after the meeting to continue the conversation, but we never received a single response via phone, email, or in person confirming a future meeting. Our actions at the last council meeting appear to be what was necessary to move forward with the process. It is our position that we need to discuss and resolve the following issues: obtaining a formal signed documentation in the form of an interlocal agreement and or resolution regarding payment of the bond. Neither entity has been able to produce such a document. Discussion about the interest savings obtained during the refinance of the bonds, with none of that savings being shared with the City of Marion or our taxpayers. Discuss operational expenses of the pool to determine what expense and revenue is the specific responsibility of each entity. Update the current operational agreement, which has not been reviewed since 2010. Continuation of USD 408 and City of Marion partnership for recreation, and discuss specific pool maintenance concerns that could impact the life expectancy of the pool and equipment. In closing, Our position is only to be good stewards of our taxpayers' funds, and hopefully we can now come to the table to continue and improve this partnership. Thank you. We have a public forum limited to agenda items only. Does anyone wish to address the council regarding that? There being none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'd like to pull page 6 and 7 for review, please. I'm trying to find page 6, sorry.
We're talking about the scheduled claims list?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
On page 6, there's an item that says by brand contract agreement for industrial park for $19,000. I thought the agreement was $16,000 cash.
Ruth, no, the agreement was, there was a payment of 16 coming to the city. This is the expenditure for the construction portion of this project. You'll see a separate schedule of claims for the, 60,000, Randy?
Yeah.
60,000 payment out of the grant account, and this is out of our account.
Okay, but I'm asking why 19,000, Roger, the grant itself was 160. We owed 20% of that, which was 32. We were told that 16 of that would be working time and 16 cash. And now we've jumped up to paying 19, I don't understand.
Yes, there were additional charges for the rock encountered as they were going through the project. It was on the north side.
Yeah, up by the old Pizza Hut building, but Ruth, I can probably help out here. The $16,000, you may recall, we got from the Expedition Wing folks as that was 1/2 of our in-kind contribution, which 1/2 could be up to 50% could be cash. We did some solicitation with the other 3 banks in the community, and we got another $3,000, $1,000 from each of them. So that $1,000 from each of those banks is included with that 19,000.
Okay, thank you. And then on the second part, it says 80,000, this is page 7. Is that just half of the contract that we owe? This is 460.
Yes, that's the amount of disbursement we've received from Kansas Department of Commerce.
We haven't received the second payment yet?
Right, there's still,
Okay.
Andy's working on the project closure.
Okay, thank you.
Do I hear a motion? Second. We move and second to approve the consent agenda. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Resolution 21-07 Financial Emergency Declaration. Roger?
Okay. City Council, on the advice of legal counsel from the League of Kansas Municipalities, they have suggested that cities declare a financial emergency related to the possible charges that will result from the spike in natural gas prices and or electric prices that may impact not only our city, but ultimately our citizens. This resolution basically is our gateway to be able to apply for any financial aid that may become available through FEMA or the state program or Homeland Security to help us in the future. So today I'm asking the passage of this resolution, which our county commissioners passed a similar resolution earlier today. And this will be coupled with the governor's resolution, the state disaster emergency proclamation that occurred on the 14th. This all is, again, so we can facilitate ourselves to be available for any relief funding regardless of the program. We have been working through our state associations, Kansas Municipal Utilities, the Kansas Power Pool. We've been working with Senator Moran and Senator Marshall's office for federal relief on this program.
Any questions of council?
Is this something that we requested the county commissioners to enact before we could do it?
That is correct, because last Friday, the governor's office indicated that before she requested federal funds similar to, or federal proclamation, like you saw over the weekend for Texas, she needed to have impacted counties pass a disaster resolution before she could request the federal declaration.
Thank you.
This is something that may not be necessary, but I think we need to, be prepared, so we're ahead of the game. Entertain a motion to approve resolution 21-07, financial emergency declaration.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. We have mayoral appointments to the Parks and Recreation, Land Bank, and Housing Authority. I would, recommend that we move to reappoint Aaron Whiteman and Emily Kennedy to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board for a 3-year term each, and Roger Holter to 1-year term as Land Bank Administrator, and Dorothy Yonk,
Yeah.
for a 4-year term on the Marion Housing Authority. That's in the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Discussion regarding recreation softball season. Margot.
I think you got in your packet, the recommendation from the Park and Rec Board that they'd like permission to proceed with, registration for summer ball as normal.
This is for outside, right?
Yes, baseball, softball, blackball.
Are you planning any differences in the way we've operated before the coronavirus? It's just as usual.
Well, looking for advice from you, really. I would imagine that we're gonna need to wear masks inside the concession stand. People can socially distance outside. I'm not gonna have the players wear them. So,
Margot, when we talking about it, it would begin.
it would begin the end of May, and we would be through by the middle of July.
Is there entities, baseball entities that will, is there a baseball league that would oversee this as far as whether to cancel it or continue with it?
Well, we're part of the Cottonwood Valley League,
Okay, that's,
and, we have meetings and decide how we're all gonna do things. We'll all do it the same way.
okay,
So, and we operate under Babe Ruth. So we've got, Babe Ruth guidelines also.
have they had any indication, Babe Ruth League, what their position is?
I haven't seen much on there.
I don't have a problem moving
Website.
forward with it, and if we have to cancel, we have to cancel, I suppose, but wait till May, would council agree with that, or?
Yep. Go. No problem.
Okay, why don't you plan on just moving forward with it?
Okay, I'll put registration forms out tomorrow.
Alright,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Margot.
Number 10, approval of water line project pay estimate. Darren?
Good afternoon. Just give you a quick update before we get into the pay estimate. Due to the great heat wave we've had over the past couple of weeks, we saw no progress. So the map you received 2 weeks ago is identical to the one I would have brought you today, so I did not bother reproducing it. But they had to get started again today. They finished some tie-ins, 2 of them today, both on South First and down on South Third. They're gonna work on some more of the, on Fourth and Maple, tomorrow, next couple days, and also up at Maple Lincoln. So by the end of the week, we're gonna have a lot of what they got put in that's on this pay estimate kind of tied in. And so then what they'll be able to do is get those lines energized, chlorinated and tested, so we can actually start switching some of the services over. Although there's not a lot of services on the lines we just have already put in. We kind of try to attack those long ones who are kind of, you know, not where anybody's at first.
Okay.
So, pay estimate that you see in front of you. I want to explain a little bit how these are gonna work since this is the first one you're seeing. The first page is purely the line items. It shows the contract quantities and then how much they've completed. Both, you'll see a line or a column for completed this time, this pay estimate, as well as completed to date. So, and then down toward, and then the second page, that's the one where I'll really, probably looks a little confusing. The second page of that pay estimate is purely the stored materials. So when we get an invoice in from them, it means their material is here in town, being stored here in town. We'll add it to this pay estimate, so we pay them for those stored materials. And then we keep track of those materials as they use them, we take them off as stored materials. So you can see that on that second page, they currently have almost $360,000 worth of materials here. But with that first pay estimate, they put in about $30,000 worth of those materials. So that $30,000, they really aren't getting paid for as a stored material. It's being paid for in the actual line items on the first page. So you'll see that stored material page, it'll fluctuate down on the right-hand column as they use the stuff up. But the number might go up if they get more materials in. So if you ever have any questions about that, please get with Roger or get with us, and I'll be more than happy to go over a little more in detail if you need it.
Okay, would you please explain retainage
Oh,
to
yes.
council?
Retainage. So 10% retainage is at the bottom of the pay estimate on the first page. We hold 10% of just the work completed. So we don't hold 10% on the stored materials. So that's why you'll see they completed, so far they've done $225,000 worth of actual work. So we're holding $22,500. And that number will stay at 10% until they get over 50% of the project done. And then at your option, we can actually start reducing that, proportionate to whatever's left on the contract, so.
Any questions from the council? Entertain a motion to approve water line project pay estimate number 1 for EBH.
Well, actually, for
I'm
each
sorry,
stage.
approval of EBH engineering invoices. Sorry about that.
Okay, this motion would be
To
specifically to
pay ditch diggers.
pay estimate number 1 on the Marion Water Project for Ditch Diggers Incorporated in the amount of $532,424.
Oh, wait, right.
Okay, I move to approve pay estimate number 1 on the Marion Water Project for Ditch Diggers Incorporated in the amount of $532,424.08. Is there a second?
I second.
Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried, 5-0. Now we go to number 11. Approval of EBH engineering invoices.
There's a couple, last couple of design invoices that we held, intentionally until we knew we were gonna be requesting reimbursement. That way the city didn't have to be out that money until we got ready to do a reimbursement. So that's why there's multiple EBH invoices. From here on out, there'll be 1 per month, just to construction engineering of our personnel in the field.
Okay.
So,
I hear a motion to approve EBH engineering invoices. Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion by the council? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries, 5-0.
The next item is the reimbursement for KDHE, your SRF, loan. And I'm sorry, I don't have that number, so whatever Roger or Tiffany come up with for the number. But this is just purely, this is not the CDBG, that'll be in the next one, that's that grant, or part of our 600,000 grant. This is purely the loan figure for KDHE.
Right, and what we're requesting, this is the second drawdown against basically our line of credit with the state revolving fund. And today we're requesting 2,000 for the, grant administration, 114,469.10 to cover EDH invoices, and 532,424.08. However, that totals 648,893.18. But we're reducing that by 125,000 because we're also doing a drawdown on the grant, the CDBG Community Development Block Grant.
Right.
1/4 of that $600,000 grant that we received towards this project. So this drawdown request will total 523,893.18, and that will go into Kansas Department of Health and Environment, the state revolving loan fund, as a drawdown for this project.
Is this drawdown number 1 or 2?
This is number two.
To the SRF.
KDHE, yeah.
In the next one, it's number 1 to CDBG, so.
Alright. I entertain a motion to approve KDHE SRF drawdown number 2.
Second,
Been moved and seconded, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Number 13, approval of CDBG drawdown number 1.
Which is the 125,000 of Rogers, and this is out of the grant funds.
Okay. I move to approve CDBG drawdown number 1. Do I hear a second? Been moved and seconded, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0.
Okay, I just wanted to share with council, on Friday, our grant administrators met with Tiffany, reviewed all of the project files, all of the grant files, to date, and made sure that we were, in complete alliance and compliance before we submit these reimbursements.
Okay. Thank you, Darren.
Thank you.
Number 14, award of CDBG grant administration contract. Randy?
Yes, you may remember that we do have the CDBG commercial rehabilitation grant application in process. And as part of that, when we get ready to submit that, we will need a grant administrator at the back end. So in the middle of January, we sent out the RFP to our usual list of potential grant administration folks. And you should have the results of that in front of you that we received back on February the 5th. Based on that bid opening of the 2 proposals, we're recommending the adoption of Ransom City Financial Group to be our grant administrator for the amount of $16,500 in the administrative grant portion, and an optional grant writing piece of $2,500, which we do not intend on using at this point. The applicants themselves are doing the grant by themselves, and we'll provide a little guidance, but we don't anticipate using that grant writing piece. But they provided it to us as part of their response.
Okay, do I understand you right, that this will not cost the city?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
These grant administration funds are applicable to the overall CDBG grant.
Is there any further questions? Okay.
And you have the approval of the property owner, correct?
Yes.
What happens, Randy, if this grant falls through and they don't receive it?
Then no money gets spent. We will not enlist the services of the grant administrator. It just kind of evaporates.
So they won't be engaged until after they receive the grant?
Correct.
Thank you.
Correct.
Entertain a motion to award of CDBG grant administration contract.
So moved.
And is there a second?
Second?
Been moved and seconded, is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0. Number 15, transfer of deed for lot number 5 in the Coble Street Housing Addition.
Yeah, in front of you, you should have a deed transfer, transferring the deed from the city of Marion to Strong Contracting, because in the middle of last week, Strong Contracting and Mr. Jerry Bowden agreed to a contract for lot number 5. And we will transfer this deed to Strong Contracting so he can go ahead and begin that process. Right now, we anticipate, the contract says a start date approximately March the 15th and a completion in November. We'll see about that given the last 2 weeks, but.
Alright,
Who's the homeowner or potential homeowner?
Jerry Bowden, B-O-D-E-N. He presently lives on North Freeborn.
any further questions? I'll entertain a motion to transfer the deed for lot number 5 in the Coble Street Housing Addition.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded, is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Number 16, contract amendment request by Expedition LLC.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and council members. Jesse Hopkins, from Expedition Wind. As you know, we've got a purchase agreement with a contingency that expires as of the 26th, and I just wanted to give a brief update on the project and explain the request if I could. As many of you or all of you know, Expedition Wind had a prolonged CUP period. And it was successful, and then it was followed by legal challenges. Legal challenges closed in the end of December, and then some residual statutory periods of objection or appeal after that. And so in January, the things that were outside of our control from authorization of the project have gone away. We're now approaching the final financing of the project. And as we're looking at about a $250 million project. These financing packages are complicated, to say the least, but yesterday we had a conversation with our turbine folks, and today with the construction folks, everybody's motivated to get the final contracts negotiated. And